I don't know if you have tea.
Tequila.
I wish. For Bailey's for your coffee. Oh, we're live? Okay. All right. So can everybody hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? So we're going to live stream the class like we always do, but we're not going to record your faces, but feel free to interact because we do want to make it as interactive as possible. And I also invite our friends online to send in your questions. We have staff that's going to be answering, or at least letting me know what those questions are so that I can answer. And we'll have Q&A at the end. Also, if anybody is interested in accessing our services, I'm going to go over them at the end. But don't go without talking to us so that we can connect you to those our free services. Okay? So today's topic, can everybody see it okay? So it's the sandwich generation. How many of you have heard of that term? Okay, good. So what do you understand from the sandwich generation term? What does it mean?
We got squished in between two situations.
Two pieces of bread.
Like a messy sandwich.
Like a messy sandwich, yeah? Pretty much it? Yeah, that wraps it up. Good visual. I want to cover some of these things today. So talking about intergenerational relationships, identify when some of that care is needed, and find ways to seek assistance, but also accepting that assistance. I know it's hard to do. So how many of you are caregivers or caring for the well-being of somebody else? Are you working in the field? Yeah, okay, so you're still, well, you are what we consider a professional caregiver. So hopefully some of this can resonate so that maybe you, as you're talking to the families, you could also be something you can apply. So let's get started. So sometimes the sandwich generation, I mean, you pretty much defined, being stuck in between a messy sandwich. But what does it look like? And here I have this really cool picture of just intergenerational family, right? A lot of us are living longer. And because we're living longer, we're living with maybe family, with other relatives. And now you have people who are not just your typical spouse caring for another spouse, maybe over 60, but you have younger people who are caring for their parents, but they also have their small children. So that adds a lot of stress, and it's a different dynamic. So I just want you to keep that in mind if that's where you are, whether it's your personal situation, whether it's someone that you know who is also in this situation, because sometimes we don't even realize that could be us, right? That could be us who we are caring, and we're in that sandwich generation. Okay, so this is the ideal situation, right? And feel free to jot down and make any notes here. But the ideal situation, so our parents or the people that we are caring for already planned everything. And we agreed on everything, and every question was answered, and everything was discussed. You're starting to smile. We have an advanced health care directive in place. You're laughing now. Life insurance was purchased a long time ago, right? And all the adult children have done the same. So I think we're done with our presentation, right? This is the ideal situation. Is that you? Some of it, maybe. If it's some of it, that's great. If it's not, then definitely take note. Because I know it sometimes is difficult. A lot of times, we don't want to have those discussions. We assume that we're going to be living in the home that we're going to be living in, that we're living in right now forever. But sometimes things change, so what do we do about that? So it is important to have those discussions ahead of time. I know it's easier said than done, right? Because the reality is maybe there is no planning for that, right? You haven't decided who's going to help or where you're going to seek some of this assistance. There's hesitation to respect the wishes. How many of you have heard of people say, promise me you will never put me in an assisted living or in a retirement home or anything like that? Yes. Right? And there's this guilt, right? And especially from the adult children. Mom said never to do that. I can't do that. But is this the best care for mom? Right? But now we have to reassess. Frustration with the process. It's not easy. You might have to seek assistance, resources, meet with people. And sometimes we're really ill-equipped to make these decisions because there's a lot of emotion in it, right? They are our loved ones. And so it's not that clear-cut. We are definitely vested in that relationship. So I'm not trying to scare you, okay? I'm just trying to give you something to think about, okay? So something to take into consideration, this is what I tell people, is, you know, we all plan for retirement, right? What are some of your retirement goals? Think back like 20, 30 years, right? What did you used to say?
I don't want to work.
I don't want to work. Travel, right? I'm gonna live on an island, have fun, just live it up, right? Sip Mai Tais in the morning, relax. We do that for retirement, but it's almost like we don't go beyond that point. And we should, because what's coming after, right? What else after retirement? What else do we need to consider? Also, that how many of you are caring for an adult parent? Almost all of you, yeah. So now you kind of become the mom, right? You become the parent, and the adult parent that you're caring for becomes kind of the child. And so now you have this role reverse. It also happens with spouses, right? You're caring for the spouse, and now you're the mom instead of being the spouse. And so that has an emotional toll as well, because you're having to make all these decisions, and it's not how you planned it, right? There's also that sometimes there are challenges with the parent-child bond. How many of you had a great childhood, teenage years? And think about teenage years with your parents, right? Maybe there was some tension. Maybe you were a little rebellious. And if that got fixed, great. But if it didn't, or with siblings, right? Maybe there's a lot more bickering going on within the siblings. So as you age, if those issues haven't been worked out, guess what? They're still there. They're not going to go away. So now if, Susie and I are caring for mom, but Susie and I had a falling out, now that we have to care for mom, guess what? Susie and I are going to be like this. So we do have to think about those bonds with our families. We also have the conflicting emotions, right? I talked about having to place somebody versus not wanting to place somebody. What do I do? What do I do? This is what's best for mom, but she made me promise. Right? It's a little exasperating. So let's see. See if you can tell me if this is you. Do you do some of this? I didn't say at what level you do it. I'm just saying if you did it, right? Physician assistant? Financial advisor? What else am I missing?
Cruise director.
Cruise director. I like that one.
Psychologist.
Psychologist, entertainer, right?
Doctor, maybe too.
Doctor, nurse, right? So you do a lot of work that you don't even think about it, right? And these seem like more formal roles, but you do a lot of this. And how exhausted are you at the end of the day?
No time.
No time for yourself, right? So I know, and we recognize that it takes a lot for you to be here, and we appreciate the fact that you took the time to come all the way from Fallbrook to sit in on this talk, because it is a commitment. But I'm hoping that it kind of, if anything, when you leave, it kind of puts things in a different perspective. And if anything, you start talking about these things, okay? All right, so we have a balancing act then that we have to deal with. And that balancing act is, how many of you have children?
I was just going to say, what about the adult children? I'm taking
Absolutely. Children, whether it's adult or young children, right? And then their children, so now you have grandkids, right? Work responsibilities. Marriage challenges. What? What is that? Right? I don't even know what that is. So all of this is what we have to balance. What else am I missing? Starts with the family and friends, right? You have obligations. Yeah, your home, right? Celebrations, get-togethers, holidays. You got to cook. You got to get the house ready. All of that adds up. So then, oh, right there, household to maintain, right? So then what we need to do is, oh, for some reason
They heard me.
yeah, they heard you. All of this we have to balance, and then some. How many of you have pets? Right? We forget about the pets.
Senior and disabled pets.
Disabled pets. Oh,
like
yeah.
babies at night waking you up 6, 7 times.
Yeah. Yeah. They need more of your attention. You were going to say.
I don't have pets, but I have my mother's.
Your mother's pets that you have to take care of. That's actually, yeah.
I know, we've gone through that.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because they might not be your pets, but they're the person that you're caring for. It's their pets. And so they need your attention as well. So it is a lot, and we recognize it. It's good to take stock of where you are in this whole caregiving journey. So along with these roles come some challenges. And what I tell people is the first thing that you need to recognize is when something is challenging, accept that it's challenging, what are you going to do about it, right? Because if we walk around saying, no, it's not, I'm not stressed, I don't have any issues, I don't have any challenges, what's going to happen? You're going to crack at some point, right? It's going to be a lot that you're carrying by yourself. So some of the challenges might be, well, we might be unprepared. We might be untrained. How many of you went to school to be a caregiver? None of us. Even if you work in the field, right? You're learning. So we're really not prepared. We just stepped up to the plate because we care so much for that person. So what you're doing today is very noble. It's very admirable. Yes?
You know, I was thinking if I wrote a book, the first page would say, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, but many
And that's
people
how we
do.
step up and we love and we...
Exactly. Right. It's a very thankless job, right? How much money do you get paid for doing the family caregiving that you do? You don't get, it's free? What? Yeah. So then that can lead to stress. And what does stress look like in you? Do you know what stress looks like in you? Mm-hmm. How do you know that you're stressed?
I got shingles 9 times.
Oh my goodness.
9 times.
9 times you got shingles. That is very painful.
Crying all the time.
Yeah.
So I thought something was wrong with it.
Yeah. Sounds very stressful. Emotional eater, right? Oh, this makes comfort food. It makes me feel good, right? How else do you feel? How else do you know you're stressed? Yelling, headaches,
nervous.
Anxious, right? You're tired. Yes, you just want to go to sleep. So it's good to identify when you're feeling stressed because that's when you know, okay, wait a second, I need to do something about this, okay? You start getting frustrated with the situation. What do you mean you don't want to eat? You got to eat. I made all this food for you, right? Do you feel like sometimes there's lack of support?
You got that sister coming after you.
Right? She doesn't want to help me. Just criticizing everything I'm doing and saying. Yes. So we have to at times make these really painful choices with people around us criticizing those choices that we're making, but we think it's the best thing for the person that we're caring for because we know her or him best, right? So all of these can be challenging. And that takes an emotional toll. We are human. So we got to recognize that we sometimes need to take a break. We need a breather. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that you are being a bad person, but yet we feel like that, right? We feel guilty. We should do more. And sometimes caregivers really want to do more. I mean, I don't think any of you want to be a really bad caregiver, right? You all want to be the best caregivers possible. So you feel guilty when you can't do even more for that person, right? I want to take away the memory loss. I wish she could walk easier. I wish, she didn't forget. But we can't fix that. So it's important to recognize that. Did you have a question? No, okay. So I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing.
Another one?
Another one. Yes, because we're not stressed enough. I think we need a little bit more. So with this monkey wrench is really a reminder that a lot of us are also in that sandwich generation when we are working and we are caregivers. So everything we just talked about caregiving, and now you add work, right? So 59% of caregivers are working either full-time or part-time jobs. And I'm talking about the ones that are outside of the caregiving world. Because I know being a caregiver is a full-time, maybe time and a half. 92% of caregivers report having major changes in their working patterns. Right? Now maybe you have to take mom to the doctor, so now you need to leave early. And you need to talk to your supervisor about that, because who else is going to take mom to the doctor? Right? So what I suggest, and this is definitely, if anybody's watching us online, to consider some of these options, okay? And feel free to kind of jot them down so you can learn more as we go. But consider talking to your supervisor about maybe compressed work weeks. So that's kind of those 4-10s that you hear sometimes people talk about, right? So you work 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, so that you get Friday off, and really, it's not off as much as it is to catch up with all of your caregiving responsibilities. Job sharing, maybe 2 people do share the responsibility of that job. Telecommuting, working from home, shifting job responsibilities. I mean, that's a lot to consider, and it does have an impact. We know of a couple of our caregivers, our clients and previous clients, who have had to leave the workforce to care full-time for that person. And what do you think happens there? Like, they lose their wages. They lose that time in the workforce. So then they come back 10 years later, and they're 10 years behind. Right? Everybody's kind of working up the ladder, going up the corporate ladder, and now they have to start all over. That's hard. That's really challenging. So talking to the human resources department or whoever would be in charge of some of these issues is talking to them, because what else can you benefit from? Some companies have what is called the Employee Assistance Program, and they could include counseling, some referral sources, maybe some assistance that could help you with the person that you're caring for, like elder care options. What else is there? Try to find out from your company what is offered. Or maybe somebody else in your company is experiencing the same things you are, and find out what they're doing about it, right? Where are they going to get the assistance? You got that? Also, some companies, and it just depends on how big they are, but can offer Family Medical Leave Act, and that is a time off to care for the person that you are, caregiving to. And oftentimes, it's a relative that's a close relative, like a spouse, a parent, a child, or it could even be yourself. Okay. However, it is a partial payment. It's not, you don't get the full payment. So you do take a pay cut, but it gives you that time, and your job is still there when you come back.
And you know what? I don't know how to, I'm just going to tell you what happened to me. That happened to me. My husband takes off time to take care of me, and then he takes off and goes on vacation for like 6 weeks down to his house in Mexico. And so how do you control this,
It's definitely something you have to talk to you would have to talk to the human, to HR about. Okay, so communication is the key. So planning ahead. If you know you're going to take on this responsibility, this caregiving responsibility, right? You're going to have mom move in, and her pets are going to come in. So what is that going to look like? Can you take pets in the place that you're living? Some places don't allow you to have pets. Can you have mom or modify the ramps and the entrances to the home that you're living, or not, because you're renting, right? So you really have to plan ahead. Am I really the best place for mom to come and move in? Talk about their wishes, but also talk about what is realistic, right? A lot of retirement communities are really, really expensive. So they might say, oh, I already saw this place. It's really nice. I want to go there. But it's, $8,000 a month. Well, you can't afford that, Mom. I can't afford that. So we need to talk about other options, right? How do your plans factor into this conversation, right? How many of you actually talked about your plans none of us. We kind of just go in there and take care of that person. But really, what do you see? How are you going to habitate with this person in your home, but what about your plans? Are you working full-time? Are you willing to leave your work to care for dad? If that's not something you're willing to do, then you need to have that conversation. Be honest with your feelings. Sister, I love you. I want to be there for you, but we just don't see eye to eye, so maybe you should go live in with so-and-so, and I'll visit you, and I'll take you things, but I don't know about living with you or something else. Not my sister. I'm just picking on her. And seeking support, right? So you're already coming here. Are you connected to our services? Good. That's great to hear, because we are here for you. And if you're not connected to our services, or you know someone who could utilize our services, let them know. Because one, our services are free, but two, they're here for the caregiver. So we want to make sure that you get the support that you need, okay? And then slowly it becomes this network of care that you might not have at home, but you might find it within this group, or maybe attending one of our support groups, or your church, or your senior center, or wherever it is that you go, okay? It doesn't have to be the family, the immediate family. It can go beyond that, okay? So now we have to think about making that transition, right? So you already talked about how challenging it is to be a caregiver. You have had these conversations now. You've considered work. What am I going to do? So now we're going to make the transition. And you need to talk to let's say you're caring for your parents, right? Because we're in that sandwich generation. What is the future going to look like? Is there going to be a point where the parent might need a lot more help, but you cannot provide because you're caring for your children and you're working full time? So then what is that going to look like? Are we going to bring somebody in to help? Are we going to divvy up the responsibility? What's going to happen? Okay? It's good to plan for the future, but remember, we've got to be flexible. None of us have an 8-ball. We don't have the ability to see into the future. So then we got to be able to be flexible and figure out what is the best option. Remember, all of your intentions are coming from a good place. You want to do the best that you can, but at some point, that dog is too much, right? Or the 3 cats that you have are too much. Or, I just can't do this alone. Okay? Talk about long-term health insurance. And that could also be for you. Remember, you're in this equation. And I really want you to think about this. A lot of times caregivers are so focused on the person that they're caring for that they forget about what it's going to be like for them. Right? We're just kind of getting by the day. But what is that going to mean for me as I move forward, as I age? Who's going to take care of me? What am I going to do for that? Am I going to expect my children to care? I already know how hard it is to care for mom. Do I want to do the same for my children? Right? Maybe I need to talk about this. So here are some of those difficult conversations that sometimes we don't want to talk about. Right? Because they're scary. And sometimes it's the unknown. But we really need to have these really tough conversations. We need to have them with ourselves as well as the people that we are caring for and those around us. What are your end-of-life wishes? Mom, as I'm caring for you, what are your end-of-life wishes? Let me tell you what mine are. Hey kids, adult children, like you were saying, these are my end-of-life wishes. I would like you to know what they are. Who is going to be the designated agent? I know we have a talk that we really focus on the essential documents, like the advanced healthcare directives, power of attorney. And so we really go in depth into those topics. But having a designated agent is very important. Even if you have a bigger family and there's several of you, having one makes things easier.
From the family?
Whoever you want. It doesn't have to be the family. But you need to designate one person and talk to that person. I want you to be the designated agent for this, and these reasons. How do you feel about that? And if you say no, then that's fine. That's okay. Then you go to the next person and the next person until there's someone that you feel comfortable with. Okay? This person's going to make decisions on your behalf when you are no longer able to. Okay? What are you going to do with your assets? Are you going to start selling things off? Or are you just going to give everything away? Do you not want to worry about it? But then somebody has to worry about it. Do you want to leave that up to others to worry about? All of this, right? Property distribution, wills, living arrangements. I want to live with my daughter until this point. After that point, I want to live with my son. Just depending. Why the son? Well, the son is a physician, and so he might be more, or a nurse that might be more willing to, able to care for me. I don't know, right? Whatever the reason. And some of the legal documents to consider is a direct power of attorney. So if you don't have one already, think about getting one also for yourself. Okay, it's never too early. Advanced Healthcare Directive, that one helps with all of the healthcare decisions that are being made on your behalf or on behalf of the person that you're caring for. Okay, HIPAA waiver. You know, how many times do we go with the person that we're caring for to the doctor and the doctor won't talk to us? Right? Because we're not the patient. And there are privacy laws that protect the patient. But if you have a HIPAA waiver, then that allows you to get in, be in on part of those conversations, and it's not a problem. But usually the person you're caring for has to be a part of that decision. Okay? So all of these have to be created before an individual loses the capacity to make these decisions. So if the person is no longer, they have memory loss, they don't have cognitive abilities to make these decisions, guess what? Then that is no longer possible. So that's why the earlier you talk about these, the better. And so talking to families that you're working with, say, hey, have you thought about this? And for yourself as well, okay? So how do we move towards a successful relationship in this whole, club sandwich that we're in? What kind of sandwich are we in?
It's rotten.
It's a rotten bologna. The visuals. Except that there are things you cannot change, right? So we cannot do anything about the person that we're caring for in terms of their disease. We might be able to change how we help that person by maybe connecting with resources and other people in the community. We need to identify the problems. And this is something that I tell my children all the time. They're little, but I tell them, if I don't know what the problem is, I can't help you solve it. And those are, children problems. I get it. But if you can identify what the bigger problem is, then that's how you know what you need to do. Communicate with the person that you're caring for, with the physician, with the people around you. You talked about me time, right? Having some time for yourself. Communicate. I need a break right now, honey. I need to take an hour. I can't do this right now. Be supportive. Be supportive of yourself as well by having compassion. It's not easy. I've been there. I've been a caregiver, and I've been a caregiver to, someone who had dementia. And it's really difficult, especially when they forget who you are or when they don't understand what I'm trying to tell them. So be supportive of the fact that you are doing a good thing, but that you are human. Okay? And listen to yourselves, listen to your bodies. That's what we talked about, stress. How do you know you're stressed? Your bodies are So finding the balance. How are we going to find the balance between caregiving, working, ourselves, all the responsibilities? It's a lot. So drop what is unnecessary. So right now, I want you to think and jot it down. What can you drop off of your lives that is unnecessary? Okay, so this is an activity and I want to include also the people online. What can you do right now that you can drop? You don't have to do. Let me help you here. How many of you have to clean your house every day because it's got to be clean and pristine every day? You don't have to do that. No one is judging. And if they do, then have them come and clean your house, right? How many of you cook gourmet meals every night, or it seems like you're cooking gourmet meals? You don't have to do that. Order some pizza once a week, right? Make quesadillas, bologna sandwiches. Set some limits. By 8 o'clock at night, everybody's got to go to sleep, because I'm from 8 to 9 o'clock, I'm going to read a book. Or I'm going to watch my favorite movie or my favorite show. Or I'm going to do whatever I need to do. From 8 to 9. Set some time for yourself. Okay? Protect the me time. Everything we do here is, everything we talk about is incorporate some self-care, some me time. What do you do for fun? Nothing? There's got to be something.
Well, part of that is caregiving. I'm caregiving my grandchildren, which is joyful, but it's also when I've got my mother and my sister.
So let's get an easier one. If I tell you right now, here's this fun thing for you to do, what would it be?
Go to the beach.
Go to the beach. And how lucky are we that we live like what? 20 miles from the beach, right?
I don't know that far. We're much closer.
You live much closer, so you have no excuse, right? That used to be my fun me time as well. And I used to think, wow, how lucky. I can just drive to the beach in 5-10 minutes, right? So then make that your weekly goal or your daily goal. How easy, it's cheap, right? What else do you do for me time?
Cook.
You might want to cook your favorite dish.
Yeah,
right?
but it's work and you get tired.
Then it's not your fun thing. Then don't pick that one.
Yeah, you don't pick
Pick
that one.
so write down your fun thing. Did you write down your fun thing?
No.
Write down your fun thing, because this is going to be your homework.
Oh.
I want you to do a fun thing, and think about if you can do it once a day or once a week.
I do it driving from here to Orange County to take care of the other grandchildren, but at least I get to see the beach as I'm driving.
How about you take a little break?
Oh, I do. I stop at San Clemente Pier.
Awesome.
I
So
know.
once a week?
Try to stop every week. Yeah. Sometimes I need to get there quicker, like today.
Okay.
After this.
Traffic.
Yeah.
So once a week. That's not bad. What else? What else do you do?
Go to the movies with maybe a girlfriend, have some lunch or something. That'd be like wonderful. If the movie's good.
And even if it's not, but it's an outing. So once a week, once a month? Okay, but that's your
Once a
homework to
month.
plan it. It's your homework to plan it. So
Oh,
you're going to
okay.
call your girlfriend today,
Okay.
and you're going to search for the movies that
I
interest
got it.
you, okay? And you're going to say, hey, friend, I really want to watch this movie. It's playing on Friday at this time. Want to come with me? That's your homework,
Okay, I got
okay?
it.
Just to get out and just peruse like shopping stores. Not feeling like I need to like buy something and leave, but just take my time, look around, even if I don't
Like
buy
window
anything.
shop.
Window shopping. So maybe you do that when?
I would once every 2 weeks.
Once every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So maybe you can find
Realistically.
different areas. You know, maybe one day you go downtown and you window shop.
Mhm.
And then maybe then in 2 weeks you go to, I don't know, Seaport
UTC.
Village,
Uh-huh. And
UTC.
Otai Mesa.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and that's different, right?
Yeah.
They're really beautiful.
And you have lunch there. That could be what you buy.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's cheaper, right?
Right.
You have to eat. Anything else for fun? Weeding? In your garden? Reading. I was going to say weeding can also be
Yeah,
fun
it can.
because
Uh-huh.
then
It's
you're
very
working and you're
therapeutic.
doing
Uh-huh.
exercise.
Yeah.
But reading is also
Yeah,
what
better.
I love to do. Yeah. That's why at 8 o'clock everybody needs to go to sleep so I can read my book. Oh, sorry, technical difficulties on battery.
I just grabbed something on my bag. Hopefully they're.
What did we talk about? Human, right? Human technology.
You
need them? Sorry. Okay. I think but you can hear me okay, right? Okay. Okay, so this is your homework. Does that sound like fun?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do that. Right now I'm into reading a book that I just recently bought, so I can't wait to
Get back.
get back. Like, what time is it? Share the load. You know, have others help you. Remember, no one's going to say, I'll take the whole package. I will take care of your mom and her is it dogs? Cats?
Oh, she has cats. No, my sister has cats.
Your
My mom lives with my sister, and my sister has cats that have gotten sick, and I've gone through
So
all that.
cats, so multiple. So maybe you can find somebody to help with the cats, and then somebody can help with the cooking, and then somebody can help with the traveling, and somebody can help with the grandkids. But you don't have to do it all.
Yeah, I know that's easier said than done.
I was going to say, no,
Because
that's not going to
I'm
happen.
in a situation where my sister was the other one that was helping, but my mother.
Mm.
And now she's ill and my sister's not ill and not able to drive.
Mm.
So I'm
You're everything?
there and then trying to help with my grandchildren, which is my joy. That really, the time that I get to spend.
Absolutely. And you want to.
I want to do it, I retire so that I can.
So my
But
suggestion.
saying, get some help is easier said than done. I've been doing this for 15 years with my mother, and it's expensive. And there's not a lot of, there's friends that are well-wishing, but you can't leave them at times. I can't ask
So
them to do
what I
Can't
would
do it.
suggest, I don't want you to be like, create a wall and a barrier to asking.
I'm just being realistic. I've been to
Absolutely.
explored all of the different things. So.
What I would suggest is those friends that are well-intentioned, instead of you saying, well, I need you to help me with this, and they're going to clearly say no because that's not what they want to do. Hey, thank you so much for offering. What can you help me with? And if they say, oh, I love cats. I would love to be able to help you with the cats. Great. Come in once a week, even if you need the help every day, but at least once a week, they come in and they help. Or walk the dog. Or, I don't know, I cooked extra today, and so I'm just going to send you some extra over. I mean, those are things that can easily be done by other people, and they don't have to take on the whole package, right? Even I have some friends, and it's so wonderful that sometimes they say, you know what, just drop the kids off by my house, on your way to having to work later, and I'll watch them for an hour. And so that helps, and then maybe the second hour I have to hire a babysitter, but at least for that hour it was helpful. Okay, so what I want to, before we leave, is I want to talk about all of the resources that we have. And you said some of you are already connected to our services. But if you're not familiar with everything that we do, this is what we offer. Everything we do is free, and it's focused on the family caregiver. So if you are saying you've been doing this for 15 years and it's still very overwhelming, and you can't find, maybe easier said than done, to get help, then maybe talk to someone about setting up some counseling. Maybe this, oh, good, awesome. Because then maybe you can come up with some solutions with your care manager, that's the family consultant, who is a trained professional, that can help you figure out ways to help you. Maybe you have already exhausted everything, but maybe he or she can think about other things that you can do and how to get them accomplished. We've had some respite care for our clients. So if you want to go window shopping for an hour, but you can't leave mom at home, we can help you. We can provide that respite care for you. We have education and training is what we do. We have classes, workshops, conferences. And I do want to bring your attention, I think you got some flyers. One of them is a list of all of the classes. And if you don't have them, please let our staff know. But it's a list of all of our classes that with a schedule until the end of the year. And I believe the next one is, when is the next one? October 10th. And it's successful mealtime. So if there's anyone who's having a hard time during the mealtime, we will be talking about that on October 10th. And it's also live streamed so that people at home or people at work can access these classes. So that's a list. We also have a workshop this coming Friday, so if you're interested in attending, make sure you sign up. And we are doing several conferences. There's another one on November 2nd, and we're going to talk about a lot of the different legal questions that people might have. So we partner with elder law attorneys who really can help you specifically with some of those questions that you have. So we talked about long-term care, right? We talked about placement. What do you do there? Do you have to sell everything so that you can afford to place, a person? Well, why don't you come to the conference and ask them directly? Maybe they can help you find other ways so you don't have to sell everything, okay? Reach to caregivers. If you are caring for someone who's got dementia, memory loss, Alzheimer's disease, we have this wonderful program, and my colleague is here, and you can talk to her directly, because it's really a class. It's a series of 4 classes, and it really teaches you about what is dementia, what it looks like, how do you manage some of those behaviors, and so you have a better understanding of what it is and how you can deal with that, those challenges when you're caregiving. Operation Family Caregivers is a service for military and veteran families who are caring for someone with maybe PTSD, TBI, and some sort of physical disability. And it's also a coaching model. So as you can see, there is a lot. Support groups. We'd love to be able to go to employers. We talked about the sandwich generation. We talked about people needing some time to take care of their caregiving needs, but they're also working. So if you know of businesses, different workplaces who would like to invite us to come and present to their staff, we would be happy to do that. We're all over San Diego County. All of our services, again, are free. I think I already mentioned that 3 times, but they're free, English and Spanish. So I hope that gives you a kind of like a brief synopsis of what we do, but we can stay and talk to you about further. And here's our contact info. You can give us a call directly. You can visit our website. I encourage you to visit our website because you could also kind of play around with some of the tabs and see some of the videos that we've posted. We do podcast classes that are live streamed, so you can kind of see what else is there. Okay? Any questions? All right. Any questions from our online audience? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming, and we'll be around if you want to ask anything else. Thanks. See, I try to get you out of here.